Ever wondered if those weight loss pills and powders you see everywhere actually work? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on this huge, multi-billion-dollar industry to find out what's really going on.
So this whole thing really starts with a pretty wild number. A recent report in The Lancet found that half, literally half, of the population in India isn't getting enough physical activity. Now that's a massive health crisis. And wherever there's a crisis, there's always a market just waiting to sell you the solution.
And wow, what a market it is. The global weight loss industry is worth a staggering $260 billion. That's an entire industry built on the promise of fixing this problem of being unfit. But for all that money we're spending, what are we actually getting?
And that's really the big question here, isn't it? When you buy that shake or that pill or that special tea that promises to just melt away fat, what's the science behind it? What's the truth behind that flashy label?
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of the products themselves, you've got to understand the system they exist in. It's this powerful and very profitable cycle. You have some industries getting rich by making us unhealthy, and then you have others getting rich by promising to cure us.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got the $800 billion junk food industry, and on the other, you have the $260 billion weight loss industry selling the solution to the problems the first one helps create. It's this perfect, profitable loop, and we, the consumers, are just kind of stuck right in the middle.
And oh man, the marketing for these so-called solutions is just so tempting, right? They promise you the absolute dream. Lose weight with zero exercise, keep eating all the junk food you want. They throw around these impressive-sounding phrases like clinically proven and backed by science to sell this idea of an easy, effortless fix.
All right, so let's dig into these scientific-sounding claims. How do these magic pills supposedly work? And, the more important question, do they work at all?
Now right here, this is probably the most important thing you need to know. This is the key that unlocks the whole industry. There's this massive gap in the rules. You see, actual medical drugs have to go through years of super strict, independent testing to prove that they're safe and that they work. But dietary supplements? Yeah, not so much. Companies can just push products onto the market based on their own tiny, often totally biased studies. It leaves you with very little protection and even less proof.
So let's start with a really common one you hear about, a hormone called leptin. Okay, so leptin comes from your fat cells, and its job is to send a signal to your brain that says, hey, we're full, time to stop eating. The theory behind the supplement is simple, right? More leptin means you feel less hungry, so you eat less. Sounds pretty logical.
But, and this is a huge but they conveniently leave out, people dealing with obesity already have tons of leptin. The problem isn't that they don't have enough of the hormone. The problem is their brain has become resistant to it. It's like the I'm full signal is being sent, but the brain has just put it on mute. So, taking more leptin in a pill, it does absolutely nothing. Okay, next up, fat trappers. These often have an ingredient called chitosan. And get this, it's literally made from the powdered up shells of shrimp and crabs. The claim is that it's like a magnet for fat in your stomach, grabbing onto it so your body can't absorb it.
So here's the deal. It might block a teeny tiny amount of fat, but it also blocks your body from absorbing essential vitamins, A, D, E, and K, that you actually need to be healthy. And the impact on your weight? Studies show it's basically zero. So you're risking a nutrient deficiency for pretty much no benefit at all.
And finally, we've got the most popular category of all, fat burners. When you look past all the cool packaging and flashy names, the main active ingredient is almost always something you know very well, caffeine. The idea is that it jacks up your nervous system, which then sends a message to your fat cells to start breaking down.
But again, the reality is a little different. Any weight loss you might get from caffeine alone is minuscule, and these supplements are often packed with huge doses, which can lead to nasty side effects like anxiety, not being able to sleep, and even heart palpitations. And to top it all off, your body builds up a tolerance super fast, so even that tiny effect just goes away.
These misleading claims aren't just ideas floating around. They are the actual business model for some major global corporations. Let's take a look at how this all plays out in the real world with a case study of a company you've definitely heard of.
So, let's talk about Herbalife. Their business model is multi-level marketing, a setup so problematic they got hit with a $200 million fine by the US Federal Trade Commission. Then there's their healthy shake, where fructose, a type of sugar, is the second ingredient on the list. And as for their herbal and safe claims, well, there have been reports from all over the world of serious liver damage, heavy metal contamination, and toxic compounds found in their products.
And what happens when actual doctors and scientists, like Dr. Abby Phillips, try to sound the alarm? They often get hit with lawsuits. Dr. Phillips was sued just for posting a scientific critique online. As he put it, instead of responding with science, the company tried to shut him up. It's a tactic meant to scare critics, not to prove that their products are actually safe.
Okay, so if the pills and the powders and the shakes are mostly a lie, then what's the truth? What does actual science say is the real way to achieve sustainable weight loss?
Well, the verdict from the scientific community is pretty blunt. After reviewing hundreds and hundreds of weight loss supplements, Professor Melinda Manor concluded this: there is no research evidence that even a single product can cause a significant amount of weight loss. Not one.
So let's just cut through all the noise from the marketing machine. The reality is simple. It's almost boring, which is probably why it doesn't sell well in a bottle. It's been proven for decades. There are only two things that consistently work for long-term health and weight management: managing the calories you take in and moving your body. It's not some secret formula, it's just science.
And look, getting active doesn't mean you have to sign up for some crazy, intense boot camp tomorrow. The science shows that moderate, consistent activity is what matters. We're talking about things you might actually enjoy. A brisk 30-minute walk, taking the stairs for 15 minutes, even spending half an hour gardening. These aren't quick fixes. They're simple, powerful habits that make a real difference over time.
So I guess the question to leave you with is this. When it comes to your health, are you chasing a product that comes in a bottle, or are you building a practice that becomes a part of your daily life? The answer to that question might just be the most powerful supplement you can get.